family set up a night camera just for a laugh. But when they watched the footage the next morning, they saw a stranger standing at the foot of their child's bed for 6 straight minutes. And in the final frame, he looks directly into the lens and does something nobody could have ever expected. I'm going to show you that frame. Meet the Harris family. A mom, a dad, and 2 young kids living a quiet life in the suburbs. One night, they decided it would be funny to set up a night vision camera in their children's room to capture any silly things they might do in their sleep, maybe for a TikTok video. They mounted a single, battery-powered camera on the ceiling, set it to record continuously, and didn't think much more of it. The night was completely ordinary. The house was quiet. The family went to bed around 10:30 p.m., locking all the doors as usual. But what the camera recorded that night would change their lives forever. At exactly 3:04 in the morning, the footage shows a faint shadow moving silently along the upstairs hallway, heading straight for the children's room. The bedroom door, which the parents had left slightly ajar, opens without a single creak. A figure, about 6 feet tall and moving with a slow, deliberate pace, steps into the frame. It walks to the foot of the youngest child's bed and just stands there. For 6 minutes, the figure watches the sleeping child. The child doesn't stir, doesn't even roll over. On the camera, the figure is in soft focus, almost blurry, and the video feed seems to flicker slightly whenever it shifts its weight. The stillness is absolutely chilling. When the family showed the footage to the police, investigators were stumped. They immediately pulled the metadata from the video file. The recording was a single, unbroken file. The camera's internal logs were completely intact, with no flags for editing or tampering. The timestamp was authentic. Nothing seemed out of place digitally. It was even more confusing. The home security alarm was never triggered. Motion sensors placed around the exterior of the house showed 0 activity all night. It was as if this person had simply materialized inside their home. But as investigators stared at the grainy footage for hours, they started to notice things. Small details that were easy to miss at first glance. If you zoom in on the stranger's hand, you can see he's holding something small and reflective. In one split-second frame, a glint of light reveals a braided pattern. The mother's heart stopped when she saw it. The pattern was identical to a bracelet she wore every single day, but her bracelet was on her wrist, in her own bedroom, on the other side of the house. Even more unsettling, analysts noticed that, in several frames, the figure's head was tilted at the exact same angle as the sleeping child's head, as if it were mirroring the child's posture perfectly. It wasn't just watching. Wow. It was mimicking. Then comes the disappearance. At 3:10 a.m., after 6 minutes of silent observation, the figure slowly turns its head toward the camera mounted on the ceiling. The moment it faces the lens, the video file glitches. For just 0.4 seconds, the screen is a mess of digital static. When the picture comes back, the figure is gone. The room is empty. The hallway is empty. Police did a full sweep of the house. Canine units were brought in, but the dogs couldn't pick up a single foreign scent. There were no footprints, no fingerprints, nothing. The windows were still locked from the inside. The front and back doors were also still locked from the inside. There were absolutely no signs that anyone had entered or left the house. But before I show you the final enhanced frame and what the figure did when it looked straight into the camera, you need to hear what the family's oldest child told the police the very next morning. It's a piece of the puzzle that makes this whole thing even more terrifying. When questioned by a child psychologist, the older daughter, who slept in the same room, confessed something she'd kept secret for weeks. She said she had been talking to someone on the wall. She described him as a man who knows the house, who would whisper to her at night. The family had dismissed it as a child's active imagination. An expert in pediatric sleep behavior was brought in and confirmed the child showed no signs of sleepwalking or any other parasomnias. She was awake during these conversations. A digital forensic expert re-examined the camera and confirmed its internal clock had never been tampered with or reset. The time on the recording was the real time. As a side note for context only, a local psychic who spoke with the family reported feeling an overwhelming sense of fear in the house. But this was never entered as official evidence. The child's testimony, however, was a chilling, official part of the record. She wasn't dreaming. It's what happened in that final frame. Investigators took the footage and enhanced it, frame by painful frame. As the stranger turns to the camera, just before the glitch, it lifts its hand. It doesn't touch the lens. Instead, it presses its palm flat against the air, right in front of the camera's view. At that exact point of contact, the camera records a faint circular distortion of pixels, like a heat wave or a ripple in water. As the distortion resolves, for just a fraction of a second, it leaves behind a clear, full-color imprint of the mother's braided bracelet pattern. Seemingly burned onto the wall behind it, Tevin, though nothing physical had touched the wall. Then, in the very next frame, the stranger's face becomes visible, but only for a fleeting moment. It's the father's face, his exact jawline and features, but it's layered over another, completely unfamiliar face, an impossible, horrifying composite. The family saw it and knew instantly that was the father's face, but it wasn't him. The Harris family unplugged every camera in their house that day. 2 days later, they moved out and never came back. The official police report remains open and inconclusive. In the original file, right under that last chilling shot, a single line of on-screen text appears for a split second, almost like a subtitle. Looks like handwriting, and it says, "He keeps the pieces." The video ends there, so let me ask you, would you ever sleep in that house again? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and be sure to follow for more strange stories.